Welcome back. You're watching NBS television. This morning, we are joined by a special guest in the studio with us. And this part of the show we call the breakfast meeting. Today, December 8, actually, we're going to be speaking to Mr. Ochieng Daudi, who is going to be telling us a whole lot more about a campaign we might have seen maybe on the social network pages, that is on Facebook. In one way, we've seen it on Twitter, but we've also seen it and heard it on the airwaves. And we are also going to be speaking to him, and he's going to let us know exactly what GeNext is all about. You've heard it and you've seen it somewhere, somehow. So he's here to tell us a whole lot more about that. It's good to have you in the studio this morning.
Thank you very much.
It's really an honor, actually.
Thank you very much, Joy. Nice to be here. Good morning, viewers. I'm glad to be on NBS, and let's start.
Okay, now we always ask people what they had for dinner yesterday, then what they had for breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
So how did it go?
It was pretty well, pretty good. Hectic though, but it was nice.
It's the grasshopper season. Do you find those?
Unfortunately, I am scared of grasshoppers. I have a problem with grasshoppers, so I do not touch them.
Well, we'll skip that. Now, just give us a bit of information. We've heard about GeNext. You know, some of us could have a clue what it's about, but the bigger part of the viewers might need to know what GeNext is all about.
So, GeNext is an acronym that is derived from the term Generation Next. And it's meant to bring together like-minded people, especially the youth between the ages of 18 to 24, that subscribe to the notion of having a quality population, and that starts from the family size they want to have in the future. And it's a revolution that came out of the thinking that looking at our demographics right now, 56% of our population is below the age of 18. That's very scary. And if we continue at the rate, at the population rise of 3.2, we're going to have a problem, a big problem in the next 10 years. And we want to ensure that the population at that time is quality and productive. So that's where the whole campaign bases its foundation on.
So you decided to roll out this campaign because you want people to have smaller families? Or what is it like?
Yes. We want people to have smaller families, but at this phase, we are looking for advocates, people who are socially conscious of the next generation, so that they make the decisions they make today shape the future of Uganda.
Well, I'm looking at your Facebook page here, and some of the info that I'm reading is we all deserve a good life, good roads, health care, 3 meals a day, you know, the right to own land, and a whole lot more of good things that I'm reading here. How is the campaign faring so far?
The campaign is doing great. On Facebook, we already have we're 14 people short of 4,000. Considering that we started about 4 weeks ago the campaign. On Twitter, we have about 500 people following us. The SMS database is blowing up. And we have so far trained advocates in MUBS. We've been to Chambogo University, and we've been to Makerere, or to all the three coalitions. The only one we haven't done is Afrostone, and it's the enthusiasm is in there. We're getting the youth to form the GeNext clubs as we prepare to go to the rural areas. I know so many alarms have been raised that we're dealing with urban people, but I mean, the strategy is still in place. If we have the trendsetters buying into the idea, then we can then move to the villages and then have that whole population also converted into what we are looking forward to. We know the problem is in the rural areas, but hang on, the trendsetters are here in the urban areas. So if we can get them and train them with advocacy skills so that they can go to the villages and then now transfer their knowledge to the fellow youth that are in the rural areas so that they do not commit the same population rise. We're then halfway to the goals of the campaign.
Okay, you actually talked about the fact that the people who might need this information more could be in the rural areas.
Yes.
But who exactly are the target audience? If we're going to look at,
I mean, the campaign has 3 phases. And in order for a revolution like this to take root, it needs strong people who are trendsetters. Now, we're all going to find that type of people in the rural areas. We need to pick them up from here because they understand what the problem is. The only problem I have with the notion that we're preaching to the converted. So if you are socially conscious about the problem we're going to have tomorrow, what have you done about it? And this is what we're trying to transfer from here to the rural areas.
Well, I'll just give you an insight.
Yes.
The other week I was in Kasese district.
Yes.
Now, you know a whole lot, at least you know something about Kasese
Yes,
district.
I do.
Aside from the fact that that's where I come from.
Nice.
Now, I realized that the girls there, I think it's a cultural thing, that the girls there, you know, don't have a problem having children at 19.
Yes.
At 19, you would have a girl with 3 children.
Yes.
At 19. So I do not know if GeNext has that into consideration. Maybe it could be something you could look into.
Yeah, speaking of Kasese, someone just posted on our Facebook that actually people, I mean, the girls there are getting married as young as 12. And they're
No, well, not 12. I think it's about 13 or
I saw
14
that.
around
But
there.
statistically, in the whole of Uganda, not focusing only in Kasese, 5% of the youth get pregnant before they get to 19.
Exactly.
So the first thing we wanted to do is that because youth are a little rebellious, we cannot go around preaching to them or giving them orders. We wanted to get fellow youth to go and disseminate this information at a peer-to-peer level so that it is understandable and agreeable. And for someone to listen to another, they have to admire that person and relate to that person. So we cannot get the old guards to go down to Kasese and talk to them. But we're going to get people from, let's say, I'm just giving an example, Makerere University, to go down to talk to the young girls in Kasese and tell them. Because the studies show that as rural people grow up, they look up to the people in the urban areas. But if someone from the urban area comes and tells them, what you're doing is wrong, hang on a minute, before you have that kid, have you thought through how you're going to raise the kid, where the food is going to come from? I mean, you're 19 years old, you're putting your school at jeopardy, you're burdening yourself with a dependent at this level. When you don't have the resources, I think you need to think twice.
But you know what I realized was that they lack exposure, and I hope the GeNext campaign is going to be able to help give them some, sexual reproductive health, knowledge,
definitely,
so they can know exactly what it's about.
Definitely, I mean, GeNext is headed towards that, and the beauty about the campaign is that it's tilling the ground for other organizations that operate in the social marketing scene, so that they can go and talk about reproductive health. At this point, we're trying to ensure that everyone subscribes to the notion of having a small quality family. Now, the issue you're talking about, which is the reproductive health thing, comes in at a point whereby someone is converted. He's now saying, okay, I've seen the reasoning behind all this. How do I then plan my family? And then they will start looking at options, which the people who deal in reproductive health can now come in and give them the different solutions. Right now, we're actually in the process of, if it was gardening or farming, we're just tilling the ground to make it soft, so that the guys who come and do the social marketing of family planning or anything else can now come when the environment they're operating in is, how can I call it, set.
Yes. Well, interesting. How long is this campaign going to run for?
It's a 3-year campaign.
Just 3 years?
Yeah.
Wow. That is if we talk
to someone who's 18, if we talk to someone who's 18, in 3 years' time they'll be 21, and at that point they've already made up their minds on what they want to do, and we hope, because it's a peer-to-peer, if we can reach, let's say, 10,000 people in the next 3 months, which almost we're about to, and then those 10,000 can touch at least 10 people, it's going to exponentially grow. It's not an easy campaign to execute because it involves a lot of advocacy and peer-to-peer, and those dynamics are a little complicated for the ordinary campaigns that everyone has been running in behavioral change. But we've given it a go, and at least we've gotten people to realize that there's a problem. They need to open their eyes about it.
Well, in case you just joined us, we are speaking to Daudi Ochieng, who is from GeNext, telling us exactly what this campaign is all about and how we as Ugandans can try, to have smaller families and a better life. But, getting back to the campaign here, from the time you put it forward and from the time it rolled out, what do you think are going to be the benefits after the 3 years campaign to the nation as well as Ugandans?
Okay. So the other day we were discussing with a few youth, and they were like, "Yes, the campaign is good. I would like to become an advocate, but how do we actualize this whole concept and take it forward?" So in part of the campaign is forming up the clubs, the GeNext clubs, and we're getting different people to go and talk to these clubs from the different universities. Now they've come up with some very interesting schemes that involve some advocacy that they're going to do, outreaches to different universities so they can expand their knowledge, and also they've come up with different things they want to do in terms of BCC that could empower them and enhance their knowledge on...
When you say BCC,
sorry,
people understand
behavioral change communication.